To all the geeks and nerds out there, welcome back to another episode of Simply Minecraft. This is a series where each episode we take a look at the game and try and make it as easy as we can. And today, no prizes for guessing, but we are looking at a super simple guardian farm. How would you like to make a guardian farm where you don't have to remove any of the water here, you haven't got to remove the monument at all, and you still get plenty of drops? Well, we've got one right here. Let's get into it, shall we? Our simple guardian farm is essentially built on top of the monument, and you can see here that we have a layer of soul sand which creates bubble columns, and then whenever some guardians spawn above it, they are pushed up and then into a water stream and then along into these campfires which kills them, and all their drops are then collected by the hoppers underneath and then into this little system to push all the items up and into storage over here for your convenience. And we actually build two of these modules next to each other, so that maximizes the number of spawns we can get and of course then the amount of drops. To increase spawn rates even further, we add this solid roof on the top, and that is another trick you can do to get more guardians to spawn. You might be asking, how do we get the guardians to spawn just in our farm and not in the ocean around? Well, that is a simple trick of a very precisely placed AFK spot above the farm right here. Before you build this guardian farm, I do recommend taking on the monument and killing the 3 elder guardians that are inside. Now that might sound like a difficult challenge. Well, I'm going to show you a super simple trick which makes it very easy indeed to kill the 3 elder guardians inside, and if you do it properly, you won't lose any health at all. This guardian farm is not for XP, it's really for the resources that the guardians drop. And so what are you going to get out of this? Well, we'll break it down, but the real thing you're after, I guess, is going to be these things, the sea lanterns. And with this farm, you'll be able to get about 12 stacks of sea lanterns per hour. So how does that break down? Well, here we go. Here are the numbers. So prismarine shards, you'll get around 9,700 prismarine shards. You'll get almost 4,000 raw cod. That's nice and tasty if you like your fish. And then in terms of the prismarine crystals, you'll get almost 4,000 prismarine crystals. And then you'll also get as a bonus some ink sacs from the squid that get killed, over 130 ink sacs per hour. So not too bad at all. So if you want to build this thing, let me give you a step-by-step guide. The first thing to do is to take on the monument. So I'm in survival to show you how to do this stuff. Let's get ourselves into a boat, and I've got a few things here ready to look at. So one piece of armor is good enough. So you just need to have this one. Aqua affinity and respiration is definitely useful. And the secret weapon is invisibility potion. So if you take an invisibility potion, if I can say it, then the elder guardian and the guardians themselves won't be able to see you, and you'll be fine. You can also take a water breathing potion as well if you've got those, but if not, bring some doors with you and we can use those for air pockets. So let's head on over to the monument. And at some point soon we are going to get mining fatigue, but that's okay. We can try and dig in if we can, but the easiest way to do it is to do this. So get a TNT, place it down on the center. So when you come in here, place it on the center here, you can see that all the guardians are totally ignoring me. Add a sand on the top of it, and then grab a flint and steel, light the TNT, move back away from the TNT, and you will see that it blows a hole inside. Now inside this top area is the first of the elder guardians. We can go in here and he's going to ignore us. Even if we hit him, he will not bother us at all. Now there are thorns. He does have thorns, so when you hit him you might take some damage from that, but I could just chill out here. There's the mining fatigue, and we can just swing away at him, making sure that we don't take any damage. Now what you also want to do is put down a door close by, and so when you're running out of air, you can walk in here, take a breath, get your air back again, and come over to this guy and give him what for. So keep doing this until he's dead. And there he is, and we even got a sponge as well. Very good, very good. Okay, let's come out of here and we move on to the next one. There are 2 more elder guardians, and they are in each of the wings. So if you come to the front, there is a wing on this side on the left and also a wing on the right. So come over, just pick one of the wings and come on over to here. Again, the guardians are ignoring me. Now the important thing here with the invisibility potion, they're only ignoring me because I've got 1 piece of armor on. I've just got the helmet, nothing else. So as long as that's the case, they will ignore you. So if you've got more than 1 piece of armor, including an elytra, that kind of thing, then they will start attacking you. They will see you. So make sure you've only got your helmet on and nothing else. Okay, so that is that. We should be able to now come into this area, and we should see our elder guardian around here somewhere. Maybe he's over here. Let's have a look. Yep, there he is. I just put a door down to get some breath, and here is the hole that we just made just up here. So he's just in this wing over here. So let's swim on over, and again, same old story. We just give him a whack a few times, keeping our eye on our air to make sure we don't drown. But yeah, this is pretty straightforward as well. And for the last elder guardian, let's go to the other wing. So we're at the front of the building again, front of the monument. Coming over to this side, we'll do the same thing again. Put our TNT down, sand on top, and then light the TNT. Get any kind of kelp out of the way, and then move back so you don't take any damage. That will blow up, and now we can hop inside, and there should be an elder guardian just in this room. Let's have a look. Are we right? Should be here somewhere. Might have to swim around to find him, but he should be around here somewhere. I've been swimming around and I can't find him. There is normally one in this this building. Maybe he's up here actually. Let's have a look. Has he swum up here? Oh, there he is. He's gone up here. I couldn't find him for a minute. I thought he'd gone disappeared, but he's gone up here. So make sure you have a good look around for these guys. When you come in, they're here somewhere. There is 3 of them, as I said, 1 in the top and then 1 in each of the 2 wings. But yeah, we should be pretty good. Just take this guy out and then we won't have to be bothered by mining fatigue, and then we can get on with the build. With the 3 Elder Guardians gone, we can now build up the farm, and here is the list of materials you're going to need. At the top here, we've got some concrete. You can use any solid block here, it doesn't have to be concrete. You'll also need a similar number of temporary blocks, so get those things together. I've got some glass here, that's just so we can see inside the farm, see what's going on, but that can be any solid block. We're using quite a lot of soul sand. Best thing to do here is go to the nether, to the soul sand valley, and you can get plenty from there. You need quite a few hoppers. There's a tutorial on my channel for a good iron farm. That will definitely help you out. And underneath here, we're using some soul campfires. That's to kill the mobs as quick as we can. You can also use normal campfires if you prefer. Underneath there, we've got an assortment of a few other bits and pieces. So get those things together and then we can get the farm built up. We're now ready to start the build, but before you do, make sure you've got invisibility potions so these guardians won't bother you. Now, the first thing to do is make sure we get our farm centered around the guardian farm to make sure that all the mobs are going to spawn as we need them. So first of all, come over here to the top where you've got this kind of square formation and pick one of the sides here and then come up 2 temporary blocks with a block on top. Get rid of the 2 temporary blocks just like that, and then add another 3 over here. 1, 2, 3. So you should have 4 blocks here on top of the water, and it should line up with this this 4x4 here, just like that. Now we need to come out another 17 blocks on one side. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. And do the same on the other side as well. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. Now come to one end of this and come out 19 blocks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. And then repeat that on the other side as well. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then do the same thing on the other side over there, which should give you this large H shape. Now join up the 2 corners as well, so you should have one big box around the whole farm. Your farm should look something like this right now, and just to make sure you've got it in the right place, come over to each of the corners and make sure that the monument is overlapping on the other sides. So you could actually make this a bit longer if you wanted to. That would obviously take a few more resources, a few more hoppers and campfires, but that's up to you if you want to make it a little bit bigger in either direction. But once you've done this, get your temporary blocks, come underneath right here, come to one of the corners, place down a temporary block and another one, get rid of that one. So you've got this one right here. Now we need to come out a total of 7 blocks. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Then add a glass block. Same on the other side. 1 here, 1 here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and a glass block. That should give you a gap of 2 in between. Now we'll duplicate that all the way down to the other end and also on the other side too. Your farm should now look something like this. Now come over to one of the ends where we have this kind of water channel in the center, and now we need to place another 8 blocks down to fill this in. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 1, 2, 3, 4. So do that on both ends over here, and both on the other side over there too as well. Next, come underneath and join these up. So we're going to have another wall here and one over here. Do this all the way along to the very end and also on the other side as well. With that done, your farm should look something like this, and also the same on the other side as well. Now pick one end of the farm where you want your item collection to be, place down 2 temporary blocks underneath the glass, then get yourself your droppers, place one facing upwards here next to that temporary block and another one next to it. Then you can get rid of those 2 temporary blocks. Then get yourself your hoppers and have a long line going into these 2 droppers all the way along, one here and one here as well, and do that all the way along to the very end. Then do the same thing on the other side as well. Once all the hoppers are in, I recommend looking down the whole line and making sure all the hoppers are pointing into each other in the same direction. Sometimes you can misplace them quite easily. When there's some kelp going around, you can end up placing it against the kelp rather than the hoppers, so just double check on that. Then come up on top of your farm, and now we need to get rid of this water in this channel. Now 2 ways of doing that. First of all, you can use some sponge. So we've got some sponge from the Elder Guardians. There might also be a sponge room inside the monument itself, so get yourself some sponges and you can get rid of this water quite easily that way. Or get yourself some blocks. Sand is a good choice, and just fill this up with sand, and then you can mine the sand away to get rid of all the water. Your farm should now look something like this. Now come down and add your campfires to all of the hoppers here on both sides, there and there, and all the way along, and then do this not only here but also on the other side as well. With the campfires in, we can now place our soul sand underneath in the water. You will need to get rid of some of the kelp when you're placing these blocks, but basically come underneath where you've got your temporary blocks, come down 2 more temporary blocks and then place a soul sand right here, and then add soul sand directly under wherever you've got temporary blocks. So you should have 7 wide over here up to there, and then all the way along to the other side, and fill the whole thing in. And then of course do that not only here, but also in this section here, and lastly this section here too. As you're laying down the soul sand, you'll also need to get rid of this top of the monument. So just the top 2 blocks of the monument here. So get rid of that as well to make room for the soul sand. With the soul sand in place, let's work on the item collection system next. So you need to do what we're going to do here for both sides over here and over here, but we'll do this one to start with. So add some target blocks next to the 2 droppers, just like that. Then get yourself some solid blocks and come out here, take away that temporary block, and we need to fill this in. So this should be a 4x3. So fill in a little platform here. This is for the redstone. Then get yourself some blocks here, fill in all these blocks above, just like this. And then build a wall around this platform just like this. That should give you this small tank. Now you need to drain the wall out of here. Again, you can use a sponge that you found, or you can use some sand to fill that in. Then get yourself some solid blocks, place one here, and also in the 2 corners here and here. Next up, we can add some redstone. So come in behind the 2 droppers and place a comparator behind them. Also turn them into subtraction mode. Then get yourself some redstone, place it next to the comparators and also in this gap right here. Then you can get yourself 2 repeaters and place them facing this way. And then finally get a torch, place it on top of this block so no other mobs can spawn on these blocks here. Now get yourself some glass blocks and place 2 here, and then fill in this block on top and also here as well. So once you've done that, do the same on the other side, and then we'll work on the collection system a bit more a bit later on. Once those 2 systems are in, we can then add the water streams on top of our temporary blocks. So come over to the edge here and start placing down source blocks on this edge over here, and you should see that the water flows on top of the glass blocks and then stops. So that's if that's all correct, you've done it right. So do this all the way along here, all the way along to the very end. Also do it on this side over here, so sources over here on this side like that. So you should see water flowing right into the center. Also do the same on the other side as well. Once you've done that, the farm should look something like this. The next thing to do is to get rid of all of the temporary blocks underneath here. Now, one thing to be careful of is obviously you've got a water stream now that is pushing you towards these campfires. So you might want to actually put the campfires in right at the end after you've done this, but that's up to you, no problem at all either way. But basically get rid of all of your temporary blocks here, and then that will create water sources underneath. Because we've got water sources all the way around all sides of the farm, that will refill all of those to water sources automatically, and you'll get bubble columns all the way up. Next, come underneath the farm and we're going to build a wall in the center here. So come along to this center line here and then place down a wall that is 3 high here, and then just follow this all the way along the center, all the way down to the very end. We're coming towards the end of the build. Next thing to do is to add a solid roof on top. So I'm going to add glass around the outside. That doesn't have to be glass, but inside here, all of these blocks above the soul sand, that needs to be solid blocks, and that increases the rates of the guardians when they spawn. So basically fill this whole thing in with a solid roof, and then once you've done that, get yourself some torches, place them on top. That's just there to make sure we don't get any other hostile mobs spawning on top of the farm. Next, come over to one of the collection systems, and in line with this glass wall here, which is in the center, place a double chest on this glass here and one next to it, just like that. Now I'm going to have 5 of these, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and obviously make all those double chests, and I'm going to make them 4 high in total. So you can have more or less storage depending on your needs. So I'm going to do that first. So add all the chests in first of all. Then come behind these chests and add hoppers behind every single one. Next, we need to extend this tower where the items are going to come through from the droppers. So increase this by 1 here, and then make sure you have this shape. So 2 here, 4 along here, and 2 here. So bring this shape all the way up to the same height as the droppers, up to this level right here. Next, we need to add some blocks to create a water channel to flush the items towards the hoppers. So place 1 block here and then create a row all the way along to the end. Then you can add another's around here and then follow this all the way back, all the way to here, just like this. Then add a bit of an extra wall here. So we have to have 5 blocks here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Same on this side all the way along, and 1 there as well. Then get yourself a water bucket, place it here, and so the water comes all the way along here. That will flush any items that come up into the hoppers over here and then into the chests. Of course, you could add an item sorter here if you want, or you can add additional storage. I'll leave that up to you. Once you finish this, do the same thing on this side as well. And then the last thing to do is the AFK spot above. And so to do that, find the center point of the farm. It should be in the center of your chests here with 2 blocks either side. You can double check that by coming underneath, and it should be in line with the wall we put in the center just here. Then count out 19 blocks, including the block on the glass. So all these blocks over here should be 19 blocks. And so on the 19th block, this one right here, this is where we pillar up. Now you need to pillar up until you get to 186. Once you're up here, you can build yourself a 3x3 platform made of glass, so no mobs can spawn on here while you're not here, and you can see it's centered on the block there that we put it up on. Then get yourself 2 temporary blocks and then add some slabs on top. This is here to stop phantom spawning as you are AFKing, and also mobs can't spawn on top of that either. So get rid of those temporary blocks, and your AFK spot is directly on this center block right here. You could of course add a trapdoor there if you want to climb up here, or of course you can fly up if you've got an elytra. Okay, so let's look at this in action and check out the spawning sphere and see how this works. I've brought in my friend Steve to stand on the AFK spot and help me test this thing. So he is standing there, and if I press my hotkey, I can show you the despawn sphere. So this is a sphere around the player of a radius of 128 blocks. Now Steve is standing here for a very good reason. That is to make sure that the spawning sphere just cuts down where we want the mobs to spawn and not anywhere else. So if we come down here now, we can see this sphere. So anything inside this sphere is where mobs can spawn. And as you see, when we come down here, you can see it just comes underneath the farm here where our mobs are spawning. So as you can see here, this is where they're going to spawn, mostly in the farm itself. That's all we need, and you can see we're getting lots of spawns. Now you will see occasionally you might get a guardian spawning in here next to the hoppers. That's okay, because their default behavior is just to float down, and as soon as they float down, they will despawn immediately. So no need to worry about those. There's a guy there. He's kind of tracking that squid actually, but he'll kind of he'll kind of swim around, and eventually he'll either float down. There's one there, or he'll float into the bubble column. Either way, he will despawn pretty quickly. You can also get the odd guardian spawning over here. Again, they'll float down if they do spawn, and they will then come out of the despawn sphere and despawn. If they swim that way, they'll again come out of the sphere pretty quickly. If they swim this way, they'll go into the bubble columns and then and meet their demise in the campfires. So either way, we get most of the spawns inside the farm because of our solid roof on the top. But if you do get the odd occasional spawn that are outside, they won't last very long, and they will free up the mob cap for more mobs to spawn. So as you can see here, we're getting plenty of guardians spawning. There's not many coming outside the farm or escaping. There's one, but as you see there, he just disappeared immediately because he moved out of the despawn sphere. So there we go. That's how it works, and that's how we can maintain our rates and get pretty good rates actually out of this thing. Bearing in mind, we're not having to get rid of the monument at all or any of the water, and it's just a case of building a farm on top in the right place. One word of warning with this farm is you might find a little drop in your FPS on the client side. There's nothing to worry about on the server side, but because of the particles, because of all the bubbles and also the campfires, you can have, because of those particles, a little bit of drop on your FPS. So the best way to fix that I found is if you go into your settings, go to options, video settings, and just while you're around the farm, change your particles here to minimal, and that definitely makes a big difference. So if you're seeing that, then drop those particles down. If you're not seeing that, then no problem. It won't affect everybody, but it may affect you on your system depending on what you have. But once you're away from the farm, you can then put that back to normal. So there we have it, a super simple guardian farm that you can build without draining the ocean or removing the monument, and not too bad at all. Gives you reasonable rates, and gets you plenty of items for those sea lanterns. All right, I hope you enjoyed the episode, and if you did, then please hit that like button, and if you're new, then feel free to subscribe, and if you've got any comments or suggestions, then get in that comment section. All right, my geeks, till next time, I will see you later.